I believe that the Iran deal was a successful accomplishment. Now, was it the perfect agreement? Absolutely not. But I do think it was probably the best agreement that we were able to get. And I think a lot of people worked together from all sides of the political spectrum to make it happen. So I think that was a good first step. Actually, one of my classmates, Steve Mull, was recently appointed as the person in charge of moving forward to implement the Iran deal and working with a number of people. Now, clearly, the proof is going to be in the pudding, and it's going to depend upon an awful lot of diligence on the part of the administration to move forward. So I think that's a good thing, and it's continuing to move in the right direction. But now that doesn't mean that we've given, or we should be seen as giving, Iran a get-out-of-jail-free card on all kinds of other things they're doing. You know, we talk about imprisoned journalists. We talk about their adventurism in Syria and a variety of other places. And I think it's important to continue to pressure Iran on those fronts. So I think we need to continue to do that. What I don't know is the extent to which John Kerry and others in the State Department are doing that. My suspicion is there is pressure being exerted. But again, I'm hopeful. I think the Iran deal was a good first step. I think we're moving toward implementation, but we'll have to look at that at the end of the year to see ultimately how successful it's been.
This was a courageous and bold move by the president, in my view. The easy thing would be to walk away from a deal with Iran on nuclear weapons. As Tony said, it's probably not perfect. The president has said it's not a perfect deal. But at the end of the day, with the test of time, and no one should underestimate the ability of the United States to assess whether or not the Iranians are holding up to their end of the bargain. But I have to say, I think this will go down as a success for President Obama, unless the Iranians fundamentally cheat. This will be a year of testing that program, but I think it took some political courage to make this happen.
Well, George Little, I've heard critics say, though, that they're very worried, perhaps more worried about Iran's adventurism in the region, its backing of terrorist organizations, the likes of Hezbollah, Hamas, particularly what they're doing in Syria. And with the $150 billion in frozen and unfrozen assets coming online, perhaps early in this year, that will only encourage them to do more nefarious activities. So the question is, will the administration, in its last year, as President Obama wants to cement his legacy, particularly on this deal, will he have the incentive to, in fact, pressure the Iranians on these activities and leverage?
I think there are a lot of levers to pull to pressure the Iranians to become more constructive players on the international stage. You're absolutely right. They continue to support terrorism around the world, and I'm not sure that the unfreezing of assets will necessarily move them more toward that activity. They're already doing it, quite frankly. And just because we have a nuclear deal doesn't mean we have to cooperate with them in other areas. So I think it's really important to be nuanced about the Iranian relationship. We do need to keep the pressure on to prevent them from continuing their terrorist acts. And I think hopefully we'll see some progress in that direction.